Does the Bible support self-love? Self-love has become a popular concept in recent years, but for Christians, the idea of loving oneself can be a source of confusion. Some may wonder if self-love goes against the teachings of the Bible, or if it is a concept that Christians should embrace. In this article, we will explore the concept of self-love in the Bible, the pros and cons of self-love, and some Bible verses that support self-love. What is self-love? Self-love is the act of caring for oneself, accepting oneself, and showing oneself love and kindness. It is the act of treating oneself with the same compassion and respect that we would offer to others. Self-love involves recognizing one's value and worth, regardless of external circumstances, and making self-care a priority. The pros and cons of self-love. While self-love can have many benefits, it is not without its drawbacks. Here are some pros and cons of self-love. Pros: improved self-esteem and confidence. Increased self-awareness and personal growth. Greater capacity to love and serve others. Reduced stress and anxiety. Greater resilience in the face of adversity. Cons: self-absorption and narcissism. Unrealistic expectations of oneself. Ignoring the needs of others. Ignoring the needs of God. A false sense of security and control. Bible verses that support self-love. Mark 12 verse 31, the second is this: love your neighbor as yourself. There is no commandment greater than these. This verse encourages us to love our neighbor as ourselves. It acknowledges that self-love is an essential part of loving others. We cannot love others well if we do not love ourselves well. By taking care of ourselves, we are better equipped to serve and love others. Ephesians 5 verse 29, for no one ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes and cherishes it, just as the Lord does the church. This verse reminds us that it is natural to take care of ourselves. We nourish and cherish our bodies and our lives, just as the Lord does the church. We are called to care for ourselves and love ourselves, just as God loves and cares for us. Psalm 139 verse 14, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful, I know that full well. This verse acknowledges the value and worth of each individual. We are fearfully and wonderfully made by God, and each of us has a unique purpose and worth. By recognizing our value and worth, we can begin to love ourselves well. Galatians 6 verses 4-5, but let each one test his own work, and then his reason to boast will be in himself alone and not in his neighbor. For each will have to bear his own load. This verse encourages us to take responsibility for our own lives and our own work. By doing so, we can build confidence and self-esteem. We can recognize our own accomplishments and feel a sense of pride in our own work. Conclusion. While the concept of self-love may be controversial for some Christians, the Bible does support the idea of loving oneself. By recognizing our value and worth, we can better care for ourselves and love others well. However, we must also be mindful of the potential pitfalls of self-love, such as self-absorption and a false sense of security. As Christians, we are called to love ourselves and care for ourselves, but we must also keep our focus on God and on serving others.